Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 5 of the LA Report with your co hosts here, Eris Morrison, Linjo Kilo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back for a quick episode 5. We coming to y'all live and direct. You dig?
Yes, on this Saturday afternoon, man. Like we in the house in the crib with it today, because I mean it's been a exciting couple of past weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's definitely time to get back to the grind, get back to the business, and definitely get back to bringing you guys some great content. We got a very exciting show for you guys today. A little bit brief, but it's going to be tackling some of the things that I'm sure you guys will want to DM us about, reach out to us about if you already haven't reached out to us on some of these topics. So just look forward to having this dialogue with you guys. And I'm going to let Linjo kind of lead this episode off because he has all the great tea for today's episode.
Yes, indeed, baby. So you know the vibe. So look. So Saturday morning, as a lot of us do, we get up, we do our morning routine. The next thing you know, we in our phones, doing what? Scrolling Instagram. And most of our algorithms want to go to what? The Shade Room, Spiritual Word, other blog pages like that. So today on Spiritual Word, I'm sorry, I saw a post and I will read it here. Let me pull that joint up for y'all real quick. So basically, it was about intentions, right? So let's see. Let me put it right now. Give me 1 second now. Hold on, bear with me. My phone acting a little slow. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna read it, right? So a dude says, the worst thing you could ask me is, what are your intentions? Like, get the fuck out of here, LOL. Then a woman responds and says, what are your intentions equals, I'm giving you a chance to be upfront and honest and tell me if you just want to have sex with me or you're actually going to date. So I can see we're on the same page and want the same thing. Not a hard concept to understand, LOL. So I have my opinion about this, but I want to get your opinion. How do you feel about the question, what are your intentions?
I mean, so I'm not so how I feel about the question, right? I actually agree with the young lady in terms of it's not a hard concept to understand. I don't necessarily agree with the guy saying the worst thing you can do is ask, what are your intentions? Because I feel like from a basic sense, like let's say if that's a first date question, we go out, me and a young lady go out. She's like, hey, Eris, what are your intentions with me? Now, that question is kind of premature, right? Because the simple concept of that answer is simple. It's my intentions is to get to know you. That's the purpose of us being on this date. It's for us to find out if there's a connection or some type of spark that will build upon itself into potentially something more, or whether or not if we find out it's like, okay, there isn't that spark that something more can take place, but sometimes, in situations for certain folks, depending on their situations, it could be a physical case where, maybe it is just sex for them or whatever the case may be. But in terms of your intentions, like intentions is trying to get to know someone. Like I think kind of a lot of people kind of brush off that part. They want to know whether or not you were interested in like kind of being in a relationship with them off GP. It's like you would never know that because I just met you, because we're just entering into this first dynamic of a situation with one another. So I feel like I agree with the young lady just from the simple fact it's not a hard concept to understand. I don't think it's the worst question to ask a person, but I feel like for not just women, but either men as well, you shouldn't expect this in-depth analysis of a response given the situation. Most times that question is asked very early on. So very early on, I feel like everyone's intention should be kind of the same. Is to get to know you and see if something else can progress. So
Big facts, and one more time, big fucking facts, bro. Big facts, man. Because look, this is how I feel about it, right? And I agree with you. I don't think the question is bad to ask. Like I really truly don't think it's a bad question to ask. I think the key, like you mentioned or touched on, is the context and you have to be tactful with how you ask it. That goes for men and women. You know, if
Right.
we're on a first date or our first few dates, you know, it's very early on, like the early stages of us getting to know each other. You're asking me, what are my intentions? I'm going to give you a simple answer. I'm getting to know you. Now we go, you know, 8 months in to a year in, and
Mhm.
ask that question. I think then it's more appropriate to get a in-depth answer of where
Of
I see
course.
myself with you. Because if you're doing as a man, you're doing your due diligence and you're vetting this woman's character, you're seeing her mindset, her temperament, getting to know her family history a little bit. If we're doing what you're supposed to do to get to know who she is, then you have a better idea on where you see things going. So if she asks that question, you can provide a better answer. But I think what happens oftentimes is that men and women ask that question too damn early. Like
That's
like
fact.
if we ask that question on the first date, like I said, I'm gonna tell you, I'm getting to know you. And to some women that I've come across, that answer rather is is not satisfactory to them. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you want me to know if I'm going to be with you off the first date. I don't know you from nowhere. I met
Yeah.
I met you. You caught my eye. We exchanged numbers. You got me on the first date. If
Yeah.
anything,
That
it's enjoy the time we have together because this might be our first and last date. You never know. You know what I'm
fact.
saying?
That's facts.
So no,
It's it's a difficult. I mean, it's not difficult at all, but it's a. I get exactly where you're coming from. Some women. So my experience, and again, this isn't picking on the ladies out there. You know what I'm saying? We both heterosexual men, so we just giving our perspectives on what we deal with.
so,
So, but my experiences have been like when some women come to the table, they have a certain mindset in them in their mind that they're like, hey, I'm looking for a relationship, right? They want you to kind of be in that same mode of being like, okay, I want a relationship. But okay, a relationship always is the goal, no matter what. I think in certain situations, like ideally, if you're dating someone and you're getting to know them per se, yeah, you would might like I don't know off GP just because I feel like you are an attractive person or I had a brief conversation with you and we exchanged numbers that's what's going to happen with us. But yeah, let's just say ideally the relationship or something, that's long term coming about that situation is the goal. The reality though is telling me that off GP doesn't do anything for us for our situation. I tell women all the time, the worst thing you could do is tell a dude you looking for a relationship off GP. The reason why I feel like that is because you gave him the playbook to play you, right? Like if I am a guy and excuse my language, if a lot of what a lot of women say is like, oh, you a fuck nigga. If I was a fuck nigga and you told me you was looking for a relationship, I feel as though I have the playbook to play you because if all I want to do is to, try to smash or whatever the case may be, which a lot of guys out here, that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the fortitude to be upfront, honest, be like, hey, I'm not in that space to date like that. I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. And I think that like, yeah, like so when you say what are you looking for sometimes, like, yeah, that might be an answer that you might want a guy to have or to say. But again, being very direct with this, I just tell women, guess what? When we get to know each other, it's going to follow a logical step. We're going to either get to know each other, we're going to either have that phone call, build up to the first date. When we have that first date, if it's a good first date, it's going to build upon itself. It's kind of just a bunch of steps that will happen in a sequential order, no matter if you tell me you're looking for a relationship or not, no matter if I tell you what my intentions with you, or what those intentions are or not. I think that what you said ultimately, though, is the key. The longer we get to know each other, the longer we're together or communicating with each other after a while and having done certain things with each other, I think that that answer definitely should be answered in a more tactful way of being able to express specifically where you see yourself with that young woman. But again, though, it's like I just feel like it's not a hard question to ask in the beginning. Just don't expect the in-depth answer. That's all.
that's big facts, bro. Big
So
facts, man. Big facts. Like I said, man, like I said before in our first video episode, a lot of people, and unfortunately, you know, it does fall on women more often than not, like to microwave their process. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
we do too. You know, guys, we do
Well,
too.
like
You
a
know,
guy, sure, guys,
yeah,
guys. As a matter of fact, I take all that shit back. Women and men do the same. It's about equal. Because guys will microwave shit up, start tricking, doing things that they shouldn't be doing,
yeah,
and then be butthurt when the girl decides to, be with someone else. You're
yeah.
like, damn,
You gotta
you
keep
like,
it real with
damn, bro,
yourself.
I done bought her this, I done flew her out here, I done bought her friends this, that, and the third thing, but y'all weren't never together, bro. Y'all weren't
Right.
even, y'all never had a convo that this was your chick. So why are you going out your way in that manner to provide this kind of experience to her if she's not your girl? Now, granted, you can do that and just off the strength of you being like a good guy and being a gentleman, but you have to
Mhm.
understand that there's a risk to that as well.
Yeah,
You
you got, communication with the whole thing is key. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of times, the dating process is so fluid, you know what I'm saying? And both men and women, like everything comes down to communication and the level of vulnerability that you're willing to expose yourself to because,
facts. Matter of
from the
fact,
standpoint of
fact.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's like it's all dependent upon the level of vulnerability you're willing to expose because I think like to the meme point, when the young lady was like, I'm giving you a chance to say whether or not you just want to have sex with me or not. Now that takes a level of communication and vulnerability because on too many occasions, right, you can keep it real with a chicken. And I've definitely had my fair share of experiences to say when you keep it real, you definitely find yourself in better situations because I'll admit straight up, like in my past, like my toxic trait would be I would proverbially lead women on by not stating what my intentions were by just allowing whatever they felt was going on, allow what they felt to just be what was, and not say and step in and say like, nah, that's not what this is, yada yada. Um, and obviously that's not a good. That wasn't ever good. I mean, I did that shit in my early 20s, and then I found myself in situations where karma doesn't necessarily come back in the form of that happening to you. It comes back in the form of other things, losing out on money, opportunities, etc. So understanding that about myself and understanding how important it is, going back to that level of vulnerability and communication is like, okay, women want guys to say, hey, listen, at whatever point, that first initial, like some guys definitely know off GP, okay, I just want to have sex with this chick. For me, I think that's ignorant on God's standpoint, just from this basis. Let's say you tell yourself you just want to have sex with this chick. All right, cool. That's just what you want. That's your desire off GP. What happens if you start to like her, right? What happens if you start to be like, damn, I had sex with her, but I'm also getting to know her a little bit. Now I like her. Now you placed yourself in this box that is just, and for her most times, and most of us, it's like once somebody tell you what it is, it's like, all right, cool. Like once you tell me what it is, like that's how I am. Once you say, hey, Eris, this is what it is, I'm not going back because I can't allow myself to be in this situation of emotional tug of war or this like this chameleon complex of being like, oh, well, this has changed because of now. I'm like, I don't need that. Once you say, is this what it is? All right, cool, that's what it is. I'm not going back. I'm gonna stick to what it is. So if you change, and even if I change my mind and it's something we discussed as far as what it is, I'm not going to readdress it. I have to deal with that and be like, all right, cool. I put myself in that situation and acknowledge that's what it was. So moving forward, if something changes, hey, you know, I put myself in that situation. But I don't put myself in those situations. And this is also where women come into play. They be like, they don't like this answer as well. You say you don't know what you're looking for or that you're not sure what you are, what your intent, not what your intentions are, but I'm not gonna put myself in a box. Like I don't know what I might necessarily want to do. Let's just, like you said, let's go. Like it's gonna follow a sequential path no matter what. If we vibing, we're gonna continue to go out. You're gonna hear from me communication wise. It's gonna be things that show you, oh, this guy is interested in me or he wants to do this. At a certain point, yeah, he should be doing more and expressing that to say, okay, I see a future with you. But I just think, man, this shit is we make shit more complicated than it needs to be, in my opinion.
Hey, yo, what? Hey, yo, hold on, bro. Wait, where's the applause? Yeah, yeah. We make things harder than what it, we make things harder on ourselves, man. You know, especially when it comes to relationships, dog. You know, and like you said, don't put yourself in a box. I don't do that. That's one thing I've learned from like my early 20s is not putting myself in a box. Because like you said, sometimes on that first date, I really want to fuck. I may just want to smash. But then after I get to know him, like, damn, I like her, but now I gotta stick in this box because I don't want to go back and that's why I say, look, you know, I'm looking to get to know you. You know, this honestly, I'm gonna give the guy some game right here. So this is what I say, right? This is like my foolproof way to like not put yourself in the box, but still put yourself in alignment with what you want at different times throughout you get to know this person, right? So I always say, like, look, you know, down the line, I would love a relationship, but I want to take my time to get to know someone the right way. I want to build, I want to, you know, vet your character. I want you to vet my character. I want us to really take our time and get to know each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And leave it there. 10 times, 9 times out of 10, that answer is going to work for whatever woman you're talking to. Because to be honest, she's probably doing the same thing. She wants a boyfriend, maybe. She might want a boyfriend, but she will also wants to, you know, get to know who you are. So
Yeah, I
you
mean,
really, you know what I'm saying?
it's
It's
very
simple, you know. So for me, I stopped being too blunt, like, yeah, I'm just trying to smash. You know how many women I've come across and I've said that to. I'm like, damn, I can like this girl, but you know what? Maybe not. Now she put me in a whole different kind of light.
mm-hmm.
So for us to go backwards is pointless. I mean,
Yeah, you,
not pointless, but it's a little harder at that point because
yeah,
now she's gonna be like, why all of a sudden are you changing? Like, you know, she might start questioning you or your thought process or whatever the case is. You know, so there's a whole bunch of different variables that you can avoid. You just give an honest, upfront answer that isn't put you or her in a box, so y'all can enjoy your time together. You know, that's the one thing I hate is like when you vibing with someone and they're constantly doing temperature checks on what's going on.
mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, I understand the sense of urgency because society puts a lot of pressure on women to be with men early or to be in a relationship early in life. Like, you know, they're saying like, you know, mid-20s, you gotta be married, have kids, you get 30, you're in the danger zone, blah, 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 blah. So it puts a fire, an unnecessary fire under women's ass to find a man and lock it down and, you know, do your thing. But I caution women not to fall into that trap because you don't want to be with someone you don't truly know. Number one, you
Yeah,
it's like anything worth having in this life that we live on this earth takes time. God Himself took 6 days, rested on the seventh day. The ultimate, the ultimate being created heaven and earth, took 6 days. So who are we, earthly beings, not to take our time and get to know each other the right way? And I always say, be honest up front and allow yourself the room to grow and to bloom. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in dead end relationships and be wondering how come your dating life sucks, and then now you're going to point blame at everyone else, like, oh, men are this, men are that, or women ain't this, women ain't that. That happens all the time. Like, how many people do you know and you hear their dating history and you can spot out the mistakes that they've made, but because everything has gone downhill, they're pointing at the other party. They're pointing at men. They're pointing at women. They're pointing at black men. They're pointing at black women. You know what I'm saying? When really it's you.
yeah. You got to keep it real with yourself. You always got to keep it real. It's a very simple thing, you know. And as I say, going back to that box thing, you know, it's just like you just never know. Like when you meet somebody, I don't ever want to put myself in that situation where I can miss out on the person that I could legit possibly be with just on the strength of me being like, oh, I don't know, or this, that, and the third, because the realities are always that we never are going to know. Like to your point, everything does take time, and it takes time to really build. Now, what I do know, women have said that their concerns have been is like, okay, how much time, right? So I don't think you could put a time frame on how much time it takes, but I feel like that's something that you all collectively, again, going back to that communication and vulnerability, are able to express. You know what I'm saying? Some people, it happens for them very quickly right out the gates. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't need any time, to really or to explore. Some people meet each other within a week or within a month, and they're like, I know this person is the one for me, and that can happen. I'm not my last relationship. I think that the timing of it, it was kind of rushed for sure because I didn't build that foundation to get it, to really get shit in solid ground. So for me, but I still wouldn't. So for me, I'm kind of hesitant on doing that same shit again. Like for me, I'm a person that's like, all right, that shit necessarily didn't work because it was so quickly done. Let me see what it would look like if I took my time in this situation, right? Like I don't want to. I rather go back, and if that situation, if I got into something and I took a different approach, and then that shit didn't work, then I just be like, all right, well, cool. At least I know both of these situations is hit, and I know it don't really matter. But I do know that no matter what the situation is, fellas, ladies, take your time. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the other person. And look, let the chips fall where they may, man. Life is short. You know what I'm saying? There's a shit ton of people out here. If one person is not the one for you, no matter how intoxicated that person might be to you, you might be to that person. There's going to be another person out there who will catch your eye. So, just, you
That,
know,
yeah. No, I agree.
breathe, stretch, shake, let it go.
Just let it go. You
Let
feel
it
me?
go.
And trust me, man. Like, trust me. Like, I've been in that space where like you talk to someone for a few months, you really like them, and then they decide to do something different. You're like, damn, and you miss them. You think about them.
It's natural.
That's natural, you know what I'm saying? But like I always tell my friends, to myself, like, okay, allow yourself to feel those feelings,
Mm,
embrace it. Don't react off it, just embrace it.
yeah.
You know, the next day it'll get easier. The next day it'll get easier. And then over time, that'll be an afterthought. You know what I'm saying? So
And
don't
you know
don't
how to deal with
explore.
them moving forward. You know how to deal with those same situations moving forward. You know what those situations feel like, and you'll be like, all right, cool. This is how I got to go about it. Because that's the thing about relationships as well. So many people, they get into them and they don't know how to react once it's over. They don't know how to move forward once they're over. And that shit really causes a lot of discomfort and pain for people. They become paralyzed by like, oh, I don't know if I want to get to know a person again. And it's just like that's part of life, man. Like life is the ability for people to come in for a season and exit for a season, and you got to be able to deal with all of that. So again, man, when it comes down to just wrapping up this segment of the portion of the show, again, when it comes to intentions, understand this here: the earlier on the question is asked, do not be mad at either party for simply acknowledging their intention is to get to know you and to see what could possibly be, as it pertains to like women wanting to know whether or not, hey, I just want to know if you want to have sex with me, and this, that, and the third. I think that the crazy thing about that question though, like from a real standpoint, let's just keep it all the way 100. Every man wants sex. Like if you ask a guy and say, "Hey, do you want sex from me?" Like the answer to that would be like yes. I'm not. Again, we're heterosexual males, us two on the podcast. So yeah, I would like to have sex with you, but the difference in that is that the only thing that you want? And I don't think that that's a question that I don't think that's something you can answer on a first date. And I definitely don't think that you should put yourself, fellas, in that box by simply saying that's all you want. Because again, as you get to know people and you find out more about them, sex is a great part of a relationship, no questions about it, or a situation. But there's way more to a woman than just literally her body, because the vibe that she has and that y'all curate together can make your life a whole lot better if you meet the right one. So you never want to put yourself in that situation of just being like, oh, it's just about smashing. Because I mean, honestly, dog, like if we keep it A1, like that's some shit you do when you like in your early 20s. Like you have to kind of like grow, you know what I'm saying? That's some shit you did when you was in your early 20s in college, like life was different. Like now you understand I feel like I understand the value of a true woman, a true partner, enough to not put myself in that box and be like, yeah, that's all I want from you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's just the normal progression maturity for a man who wants to be of high character. You know, you have to leave those childish things alone. You know what I'm saying?
That's a big fact.
And to piggyback off what you just said, like, of course, men want to have sex with you, women, ladies. We
And
do.
women, y'all want to have sex too.
With
That's
us. That's a fact.
like y'all are actually more hornier than men. The
Listen,
only difference is y'all don't want to just have sex with any man. I get that. Like I don't think any. Well, that's not true.
listen, bro. Listen, I'm gonna give you the truth, bro. Women want sex. To be honest, women want sex more than men as they get older. Number one.
That's
Two,
fact.
the thing that prohibits women from really expressing that is because they don't want to be looked at as hoes or whores or slutty. So it's a whole different like subculture or like shame culture that inhibits women from really being free with their sexual desires. That's what it is. Women want to fuck too, for a fact. Trust and believe me. Trust and believe him. Women want to fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. So it's not a case of, oh, I can't find a chick that's trying to smash on the first night, or all she want me is dick. You gonna find that more times than not. It's just that the way that you find it might be a little different because they don't want to come off as easy or as whatever the case is. But that's just my little 2 cents, bro. Women want to fuck too, more than we do. Trust me. And listen, as we get close to 30, get into our 30s, and we meet women that are older, you're gonna see women want dick. To be honest, to be honest, bro.
No, they definitely do. I think that
It's getting crazy. Like honestly, bro, it's really bananas, bro. Like they want it more than us at like post 30. Like they want it more than us post 30, bro. It's not even close.
You got to be tactful, and you just got to understand that, like I said, it's you realize that, like, honestly, like I said, sex is a big thing for both men and women, clearly and obviously we know that. But like I said, there is much more to finding, a life partner, and not even just a life partner, but just a partner in general, than just the sex. Like I said, the vibe that you curate with a person is extremely important. And so, going, in conclusion to this segment, whatever your intentions are, because we just gave you what we feel like are the intentions we have when getting to know a woman early on. Whatever those intentions are, just make sure you express them clearly and honestly, so you can be misconstrued moving forward, and you guys can, you know, do what you have to do in order to have a good experience with one another or not.
That's a fact, bro. That's a fact, and that brings us into a question I received from one of our listeners, and I'm reading here. They asked me, since you lived in many places where there are so many quality women, educated, beautiful, successful in some aspect, how do men ever decide to commit or take a woman seriously if there are so many women that have this similar great qualities? Um,
That's a good question.
that's a very good question. And I'm gonna give my answer. Uh, and this is for the ladies here. I want every woman to look me in my eyes when I say this, right? A man's, as a matter of fact, I'm not gonna say a man. I don't want to give no Derek Jackson or Prince Darnell vibes. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that, dog. But I would just give, for me, my decision, right, my decision to commit to a woman has nothing to do with the woman. It has more to do with me, in the sense that I've already decided in my mind that I want to be monogamous. I want to be with one person. You understand what I'm saying? So I've gotten to a place in my maturity where my curiosity will no longer outweigh my responsibility. Because the truth be told, there will always be beautiful, attractive women out there. They're being born every day. They're going to grow up and be, you know what I'm saying? They're everywhere. Women are everywhere. But the difference is, do I want to risk what I built with someone, the time I put in with someone, just for the possibility of getting some new ass? When you get to that point where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna stick with what I got because I love our time we spent together. I love her. I know her. This is familiar to me. I'm staying here. When you get to that point in your maturity, that's how you know you're ready to commit to someone. Just because a woman has a good job, degrees, money, a house, car, all that stuff is not make her. It's not going to make you want to stick with her because, like the question said, there are so many women that are like that. But you have to get to a point within yourself, gentlemen, when your curiosity no longer outweighs your responsibility and your commitment. You understand what I'm saying? So that's really when men decide to commit, when they get to that point in their maturity, and not a day sooner. You feel me?
No, that's facts. I like the way that you phrase that. When your curiosity no longer outweighs, your desire to commit. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I would probably just say like I agree with everything that you just said, but I also would say like it does have something to do with the woman. I do think there's, like I said, as I mentioned in the previous segment, I think that it's possible to curate great vibes with a lot of people. I think that there's distinction. There's a distinction though, and each person that we create a vibe with, to where we like something was different about this person. Like I feel like most guys know when they go on dates with a woman, they're like, okay, yeah, this is something like I could see something. I really could see something, and 9 times out of 10, you have that vibe with a person even greater with a specific woman, and you're able to articulate that and be like, okay, cool. Um, I think that for men, like you said, I think I really don't have anything to follow up on with that. I think that you really laid out a fine principle as far as that curiosity being our way. Because to your point, there's, like you said, there's always going to be more women out here that you find as attractive or more attractive. But I do think what you've built up with a woman in terms of, because this is the thing, physical attributes for women that are so great in terms of what men we love to view per se. I mean, that shit is really like, as you get older, you realize that shit is whatever, because there's so many beautiful women. Like, what else does this woman have? Like, what else is a part of this package? Because again, if me and a woman have a connection and I already find her beautiful, and then she has so many other attributes that she brings to the table that makes me, where I'm like, damn, like it's not gonna get any better than this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if it is to get better than this, I'm basically going to the casino, eyes closed, and just saying, you know what? Let me see if I can come up real quick. And the odds of that happening are very, very slim. So I just feel like when a man finds the one for him, he'll know and he'll show that woman. She
Mm,
won't have to question whether or not
mm,
she's that woman for him. You know what I'm saying? I think that unfortunately, social media has played such a opposite role where it puts men and women seemingly against each other in terms of like today's standard of like what a man should be doing in order to court a woman per se, or what does the viewpoint look like. Because I feel like as a man, like sometimes I feel like as men, women don't really understand if the one thing a man, he may not have be doing everything that you guys want him to do, because that's just typical. Men are not going to do everything that a woman wants you to do. If that was the case, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I ain't gonna say what I think that is, but I just don't think that's a realistic expectation. A man to do everything that you want. The number one thing that a man will all, if he's doing this, that you have to respect no matter what, I think, is if the man is giving you his time, you should totally embrace that. His time, like a man's time, who you know is doing something, is about something, is extremely valuable. And that's just me. Like I think that, and again, same thing for women. You know, I'm not disputing. Like if a woman gives me her time, I think it's extremely valuable. But specifically, if someone you know has a life and is out here trying to make something better for themselves. So, yeah, man, I think that it's a very simple thing. I think there's so many beautiful women out here, but when a man knows, he knows, and yeah, man, he'll fully commit when he feels as though, um, as you stated, his curiosity is no longer outweighed by his desire to commit to that person. So
Yeah, man. I totally agree with you, man. You know, just to add a caveat to what I was saying, um, because I like hearing you out. I agree. It does have something to do with the woman as well. I mean, it's not just a one-way street. I was more so saying like before I ever get to the point where I'm going to be with someone, I have to make that decision in my mind. Like this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like that pregame talk you have with yourself. You look yourself in the mirror. You're like, man, I'm tired of just going on dates, spending money, smashing here. And at the end of the year for New Year's, I'm by my fucking self. Nothing to show for it. I look at my fucking bank statement. I'm going to all these fucking restaurants, all this fucking spending, all this, whatever the case is, nothing to show for it. No companionship, nothing to show for it. You get
that's
to a
fact.
point, you know what I'm saying? You get to a point where you're like, you know what, this lifestyle I've been living ain't it. You know, I want something different for myself. And then that's when you get to that point, you're like, you know what? I'm ready to commit to something. I'm ready to put that time in to get to know someone properly, court someone, and really cultivate a relationship. And then when you get to that point mentally, it's how I feel about things too. Like sometimes when you get to that point mentally, that's when the universe starts to move around according to your intentions. When your mental is right, sometimes, you know,
Yeah,
of course, things will happen just because God wants it to happen. But sometimes you got to get your mind right before you are able to move on to that next level. So when you get your mind right and you become more mature about things, you know, you will start to look at women differently. You will start to notice different qualities in women, and then you'll be able to sort out the ones you want and don't want. And the ones that you want, you focus on them. And then inherently they'll focus on you because I truly believe that women are like incubators. You know what I'm saying? Like you give a woman a house, she give you a home. You give
hmm,
her you give her food, she give you a meal. You know what I'm saying? You give her a seed, she gives you a child. So, you know, when you get to that point mentally where you're ready to like start to mature and pour into a woman, she'll pour right back into you and y'all will click. You know what I'm saying? And it won't be a force. It won't be a trying to put, you know, a square into a circle. It'll be two circles.
yeah.
It'll work. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. But they say, I think the not to get biblical, I think they say the scripture says, "He who finds a wife finds a great thing." You know, so you know that's facts. You know, when you able to find a person that matches your fly, matches your vibe, matches your swag, your intensity, all of that. I mean, a woman is not going to do anything. The right woman is not going to do anything but add significant value to your life in every situation. And I think that value, when you look at like, you know, I know this is a bit of an extreme example, but you look at Jay-Z and Beyonce, when you look at like, and I just use them because I feel like they enhance each other so much exponentially on various levels that, you know, from an outside's perspective, you can be like, okay, I see that. But even probably on I'm sure, obviously, on a level that we can't see, just the way things are able to multiply for them because of what they curate together and what they have, you know, that's, of course, like that's to me that's the standard, like not the standard, but that's the standard. And from a standpoint of like, when I look at it, yeah, shit is never going to be perfect. Like I said, you know, you're not looking for perfection. You just looking for something that you know is real, that is worth fighting for to last. So yeah, man, I think that was a great question that they asked, because I mean, it happens like for women too, you know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of times women, it's the same, you know, same thing. You know, I will say this though, this that from my perspective, there are much more high value women in the world for sure than there are men. you know. So
I agree.
that yeah, it's like it's so many more high value and specific black women, you know what I'm saying? Like so many black women are really like top tier, like without question, like A1 facts about it, like top tier. And you know, as black men, you know, I say as a collective, we have a long way to go to kind of get ourselves into that same standard. But that's, you know, there's a lot of things that at play that you know, that's a whole nother conversation. But just in terms of being like, you know, why it is difficult for men to settle, you can imagine with that being said, like all of these high value women and, you know, just being able to say focusing on the things that matter with one of them. So
No, that's a fact, bro. That's a fact. That's a fact. And this brings us into another topic here. I saw a video on Bob in UK. I think it's Bob underscore in underscore UK. It's like a black blogger page in the United Kingdom. They have some really good posts, and they actually have like a card game too that I actually purchased. It's actually pretty good. Um, it was a dude, and he was saying how sometimes him and his wife sleep in separate rooms. Like they have a master bedroom that they share together, and they have, she has her own little room, he has his own little room, and sometimes he just finds himself sleeping in the room, you know. And he was talking to one of his homies. His homie was like, "Man, that's crazy. Like, why would I want to sleep in another bed than my wife? I don't get it." And then it kind of brought me to a point where I said, I'm not married. I'm not in a relationship with anyone, but I do have an understanding that sometimes what my thoughts are in terms of what a relationship should be may not necessarily be the reality, right? So, for example, what I mean by that is like people see the lifestyle of NBA players on Instagram, social media, television, right? But they don't understand the amount of the behind the scenes things that have to go on to make that happen. And if a lot of people were privy to that information, they would appreciate athletes more. They would give them more grace. 2, 3, some of them would be like, you know what, that might be too much for me. I don't want to do that. So I think that the same thing that happens within marriage is like, it's not all, you know, rainbows and sunshine. There are certain realities that come with marriages, and sometimes with some relationships that might mean space. You might get tired. You might want to sleep in your own by yourself one night. You know what I'm saying? Does that mean that mean you don't love your wife or love your family or love your children? I don't think it means that. But I think from what I saw in the comments, a lot of people were taking offense to that, and I would beg to differ because I'm sure that many of them aren't married. So like, where do you even get your information to make those claims from? You know what I'm saying? So I always leave that room for new information when I listen to married couples and how they operate, because it's very insightful. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it like that. That might be real shit. Like you may come back from a long day, you want to go into your office and you end up sleeping in there. Is that a problem for real? No. To me it's not, but you know what I'm saying?
no, I agree with you. I think, you know, first of all, every dynamic in a relationship is completely different based upon the couple. I think, you know, certain old school methods per se, you know, um, obviously that's probably not something that we would look at and be like, okay, that's ideal. However, dynamics change every single day. And I don't think that's weird at all. I think that I could see situations specifically. Let's just take the situation that we're currently in. Let's talk about being in COVID. You know what I'm saying? It's been 365 days where a lot of people have been stuck working from home that are married or that are couples that live together. And you know, there's times in which you kind of need those mental and physical breaks from one another while still being in the same household. And so I don't see an issue at all where, you know, again, that's I think that relationships that are fragile speak more to that being an issue than relationships set on solid ground. You know what I'm saying? And maybe understanding your partner's love languages and stuff like that also has something to do with that, because I think that, you know, if your partner has like a physical touch or, you know, quality time presence to them, that might be something you might take into consideration to give them more of that, you know, understanding that probably isn't the best thing for your relationship because that's something that they value. However, I think again, when you look at, like I said, COVID, and understand like the space of being at home with one another up under each other for so long, there are periods where you want to not necessarily have to go outside of the home, but rather just in separate rooms or in separate spaces to kind of readjust, regroup, and put yourself back in better spaces, just from mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. I think that's necessary, you know what I'm saying? And I think that I don't think that people should judge people based upon the dynamics of relationships that they can't speak to.
That's a big fact, my guy. That's a big fact. That's a super big fact. You know, I ain't gonna even add on to that. That was everything said was big facts, bro. But let me bring to you a scenario, dog, and let me get your opinion on this. So you're raising the child for 3 years. Then one day you find out and it's confirmed that the child you've been raising is not biologically yours,
Okay.
right? As as a man, do you one continue to be the child's father?
Ooh.
Do you leave? Which one do you choose?
Man, these type of questions are always those ones that'll, you know, get a response out of everybody. I just think it depends on the situation. If I've been raising this kid, and from an honest standpoint, I don't have children out there for everybody who wants to know, so I can't like, you know, attest to like being in this type of situation. I have dated a young lady with a child before, but I wasn't around them at like to the extreme that I felt like completely attached. Although I did feel attached to where, you know, when me and the young lady stopped dating at that point, I was like, damn, I do miss you know, the interaction with the kid, because you do kind of build that up. Having said all of that, I think the situation just kind of depends. You know, if I have a close enough relationship with this kid or this child that I've been raising, I think it will, and it depends on the age too. I think it depends on the age. I would say the age of the child too. I think that if this was something like a 3 to 4 year old, 5 year old, where they have grown attached to me and I've grown attached to them, I would say it would be tough to walk away from that, only because I would look at it and say, well, damn, clearly this the woman that I was dating or that I was dealing with, she doesn't know who the father of her child is. And while she's trying to figure that out, I wouldn't want to put the child in a situation where they've gotten accustomed to me and then I just dip out. That's just real talk. Because I do look at a lot of kids like that. I don't think it's fair to the kid. At the same time, I mean, I can't blame a guy though for walking away from that situation, especially kind of being heartbroken or, you know, being distraught at the fact that this kid isn't mine. So it's a tough scenario. And like I said, I don't look at it, any situation in that, as far as the response being right or wrong, if I have to be 100 with it.
I feel it, bro. You much nicer than me, man. Because I'm out of there. I'm not worried about. Not worried. And I and I say this respectfully. I say this
Mm,
respectfully because, like you said, of course, being real, there are plenty of variables that go into it. How old is the child? Is the child a
mm,
baby? Is the child adolescent? You know, preteen, teenager, or whatever? Are they,
mm.
grown? What are the vibes? If the child is like, adolescent, preteen, teenager, or above, I would probably tell them. I would tell them the truth. Like, look, this is what it is. This is what I found out. You know, in 3 years, maybe I love you. I love you. I'm still going to be here for you, but
Right.
I'm not.
Communicate with them. I wouldn't leave them hanging, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't be around. Like, I wouldn't be around with the, I wouldn't, so wait, let me be clear. I wouldn't stick with the family dynamic situation, like trying to like play that situation out. I would still leave, but I'm saying I would still try to be there for the kid though, is what I'm saying. Like I would still be like, yo, take my number, you can call me, like, as if I built that bond with you. I'm not going like, I think that's kind of what fucks up a lot of kids now, like from a whole like having somebody there to talk to standpoint. Like I wouldn't play house with the mom on some like, oh, I'm doing no, I wouldn't do that shit. But for the kids' sake, I would still be like, yo, if you need something, you need to talk, call me and some shit like that for sure. That's what I would do.
That's a fact. Like I
But I
said,
wouldn't.
yeah, like you said, right. I would make sure the kid is straight. I would, like I said, I'll be there for them if they need me, but playing house,
Yeah,
being a
yeah.
father, fuck no. And I truly think it's irresponsible for any woman that would expect a man to do something to do that. It makes
Yeah.
no, like after you done bamboozled me for 3 years, taking a child's mind is not mine. Nah, fuck you. We never no, fuck you. That's how I'm gonna feel. Of course, I'm gonna feel different in the situation because I'm not gonna be as aggressive with my emotions with the shit. But nah, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? I will still be there for the kid. I'm not gonna be a father no more. I'm not gonna be with the mom no more. That's it. It's a wrap. I'm out of there. Deuces. Because to be honest, that being a father is not it's a serious matter. You know what I'm saying? It's a serious matter for men. And there's a certain type of pride you have when you fulfill those roles for a child and a woman. And if that's natural, and that's always under the basis, at least initially, if you know the child is mine, it's a different kind of urgency and call to action. You understand what I'm saying? If you understand the child's not yours beforehand, but you decide to be there, that's totally different. But I'm under the assumption that this child is mine. So I'm thinking that, we building a family and I'm raising the kid. And that is now revealed to me that it's not my kid no more, and it's someone else's kid. And you knew? No way, fucking no way, no way, no way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you knew, yeah, for sure. Like I said, I wouldn't play house with the kid. I mean, with the mom and the child, because I think that like you can't do that. I've seen. I don't. Yeah, you just can't do that. I think that will negatively impact your mental health as the male in that situation because maybe you grow resentment towards the child. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that's possible, but you obviously have resentment towards the mom. But I do think that taking space and having that space. Because again, if I have loved the child as if it was my own, he or she was my own, like I said, I personally can't just leave the kid hanging because I think that too often I see those situations playing out and the kid is like, damn, I just got to know this person and I've known this person my whole life and I couldn't just leave them high and dry. Like I could because it's not their fault. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know. They didn't know their mom was on some fuck shit. But I mean, to me, it's a simple thing. Like for sure. I mean, if a woman expects that, she can. Like I said, man, I always tell people I've posted this on my IG page, going back to various situations, but you can have expectations. You could do whatever you want to do. You can expect whatever you want to expect, but expectations are just that. It was just what it is. It's an expectation. It's a desire for something to happen. You have to deal with the reality of situations, what is going to happen and what is happening. And the reality is a lot of guys wouldn't stick around for that and play house. But I mean, again, if she expects you to stick around and play house, I think it's a lot of things wrong with that situation that don't even really need to be addressed because it's kind of like it's so like, I mean, I hear you, but I don't even have the energy to really, address that
Yeah.
a level of ignorance. So
Yeah, someone asked me, they're like, "Oh my God, that's not nice. Like, you wouldn't stay and be a father still?"
yeah, yeah. I
I said,
mean, yeah,
"Oh."
no
I,
way. You know what I'm
I
saying?
said, listen, bro. I said to her, I said, "Hell no." Like you, like, and I and I say this respectfully because I feel like black fathers or anyways, fatherhood in general doesn't get enough shine from my vantage point. Number one, so what it means to be a father is sometimes something that women don't understand. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
facts.
and sometimes being a father just is really more than just fulfilling certain responsibilities, because anyone can come in and give the kid money and make sure the kid is fed, make sure they get
Right.
clothes on the back. It's a whole different kind of vibe to really raise a kid and be a steward to their life journey, to the beginning of their journey in life. You know what I'm saying? So being a father
Absolutely.
isn't a light matter. So saying to me, or saying to any man, oh, you want to stay and be a father still, you're saying that with the presumption that being a father is a light responsibility, when it's not. It's something totally different that men don't take lightly. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Nah, that's I mean, listen, man, that goes truly without saying. So
yeah,
it's one of those situations where, as I've said, I wouldn't even like address that shit, to be quite honest with you. Like like I said, that level of ignorance to think that I would stick around and play house. Like I said, I would be there for the kid because like I would still make sure the kid is straight, because the kid shouldn't have to struggle because you was on some fuck shit. Especially again, if I'm raising the child as if my own, as you said, I've already created that bond and we've created that bond with each other. So I would not want to strip that of them, no matter how frustrated I was with the mom for her actions. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's a lot of people in those situations, and I know they, like I said, I don't blame a guy whichever decision they decide to, play it out towards, to be honest. But I mean, hey, we gotta do what we gotta do.
no, that's a fact, bro. That's a big fact. That's a big fact, man. That's that goes without even being said, bro. Looking at the list right now, we done hit all three of the topics, man. I mean, is there anything else on your mind that you want to address for the episode, bro?
You know, I want to conclude it by just talking about, obviously, like I mentioned COVID a little bit earlier, and I've been seeing lately on the news. I kind of got into, under trying to understand what's really being said. So basically, the news, from what I've been able to see, I don't watch a ton of news, but what I've seen on social media and possibly have heard just in snippets, cases across the country are rising. And I got questions for my man, Dr. Fauci, and people of his ilk. Um, and that's simply like, okay, cases are rising across the country. What I need to know and what I would like to know is the important part about those cases rising, because cases rising to me is kind of a ambiguous thing to say. It doesn't really mean anything to me, because even with the people that got vaccinated, they're not, that doesn't mean they can't get the virus. They still can get the virus. They can still transmit the virus. It just means that they won't have complications and hopefully die from the virus. That's what the vaccination meant. So when you say cases are rising, I expect cases to rise, because you have individuals who got vaccinated who are now behaving as though like, oh, I'm good, I'm Gucci. And then you have the group population of people who have yet to be vaccinated. And then you got the population of folks who like, I ain't never getting vaccinated. I've been out here doing me before this shit. I'm gonna continue to do me. So the cases rising is, to me, not this surge that they're talking about is not to downplay and say, oh, we shouldn't be trying to gearing towards opening things up. We still need to be heavily precautious. But I feel like you got to be careful with that message, because you're telling folks, the CDC is now issue like, hey, if you fully vaccinated, you can travel. You can travel clean. Yeah, wear your mask. But again, this goes back to dealing with expectations and desires versus reality. Expectation and desires to say, okay, people that got the vaccine, we want you guys to still wear your mask. When in reality, human nature is that, oh, I'm good now. I know I'm not going to get fucked up and die from this shit. So I'm going to live my life as if it was before COVID existed. And so now when you talk about these surges and that these numbers are rising, what I want to know is, conflate those surges, these numbers, into actual data that matters. Are hospitalizations on the rise? Because that was what is important. Hospitalizations and the pressure that was on the hospitals and the emergency rooms, and obviously the death toll. If those things aren't rising along with the COVID cases, then stop trying to put this false narrative out. It's not even, I'm not gonna call it a false narrative, but don't try to put the narrative out there that, oh shit, these cases are rising, so there's got to be something like there's something crazy with that. Whereas I just want to know, is hospitalizations rising and is the death toll rising? Because Biden has already smashed his 100 million shots in 100 days that he's in office. He's already over that amount. And at what point do you think herd immunity is going to take place? Because I was talking to someone and they were mentioning it's got to be like 80 or 90% of the population. I'm like, well, that shit ain't probably going to happen unless you make it a federal mandate, which I don't know that you can do because, obviously you can't even mandate states in and of themselves shut down anyway. So to tell you you're going to mandate everybody to take a shot, again, expectations, desires versus reality. You might expect and desire for there to be herd immunity for 80%, 90% of the population to get it. But the reality is that shit is probably not going to happen. People are not going to take it. So what does that mean? You have to take calculated risk. People will die. Some people will not take the vaccine and fuck around and catch the virus or its variant, and they may die. But you can't stay in this age of where things are shut down and you can't, or businesses are not allowed to thrive because of the fear that, oh, we have to protect people inherently from themselves. No, that's what the vaccine is for, and you're selling that idea specifically to us as Black people to get the vaccine. So you're telling us to get the vaccine because it'll allow us to kind of live our lives as if before. You kind of have to deal with that. So all in all, that was a long soliloquy. I know, but it's just something that has been on my mind because I'm just like, damn, like, I'll put it like this. I'll tell you what my real issue is. My real issue is that we went to Atlanta and you ain't have to make a reservation for shit. Out here in DC, if you want to step out anywhere, VA, man, you got to make a reservation to go anywhere. Reservations are like, and then it's like if you go into a spot to just chill, there is no just chill. Reservations mean I need a $300 minimum on this table that you gotta get.
Where?
Crazy.
Where's that
Just
at?
just hookah lounges, wherever. It's just like, bruh, $300 minimum. Like, and that, but I get it though. I get it from a business standpoint. I'm a full bred capitalist. I understand. Like, they like, look, if you trying to come out and hang out, this ain't the time for you because we can't have but so many people in here as of where it stands at right now. What I need people to do that's coming in here is to say, I need you to spend a minimum of $300 on this table because I need people to come in here that want to get this one little bottle that I know they're going to get more bottles and they going to drink. I need to kind of recoup as much bread from Corona as possible. I get it. And so all that's going to say is like that tied into my soliloquy as far as like these rising surges because my expectation is that come Memorial Day weekend, which is a month and a half away, a little over, you can make it the case it's almost like 2 months, but it's really because it's April, it's next month. Memorial Day weekend is gotta pop. It's gotta pop. And I think that it will pop, and I think that people are going to say, you know what? It's officially summertime because that is, you remember, bro, that's like when all the all white parties typically kick off and it's just like, up, summertime's here. So yeah.
I agree with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And being in that space, bro, like I said, man, like you said, data that matters is the key. And you gotta understand that the news is trying to stir up as much fear as possible to get people to glue into their channels, to get more viewership, to get more dollars from advertisement, et cetera. So there's a whole thing with that. Like you said, it's about hospitalizations and about the death toll. If those are decreasing while cases are increasing, that'll tell you that it's not as bad as we think it is. Two, in terms of the vaccine in regards to herd immunity, we already passed 100 million. So we're getting close to 50% of the population has had the vaccine. If we say we double that the next 30 days, 200 million. I think in America there's like 350 million people. So we can get close to 250 million, 300 million people have had the vaccine, and we'll be cool with herd immunity. And by the time Memorial Day opens up, by the time August comes around, it'll be wide open. And like you said, with the thing I want to tell people about the vaccine, I've been saying this shit for a while now, but I'll just say it again. a vaccine is not a cure.
Right.
The
Exactly. There you go.
vaccine is just to help your body build up immunity for the chance that you might receive it, so you don't have worse symptoms and possibly death. That's it. Two, coronavirus has already been around for years. We've already been developing treatments for coronavirus, just not COVID-19. That's why the vaccine was able to come out in 9 months, 10 months, a year, really came out in a year.
Yeah.
Three, the sense of urgency behind the matter. That's what alleviated all the bureaucracy and all the red tape that allowed the vaccine to get pushed to the public faster. Because what happens with vaccines is not that we don't have a technology nowadays to make vaccines faster or make medicines faster. We make medicine in a month if we want to. It's all the laws that go behind it before it gets pushed out to the public. Like the longest stage of medicine is stage 5. That's called post-market surveillance. That's when they put it out into a small section of the population, see how it does with the side effects, get the information back, edit the medicine again, put it in another side of the country, do the same thing over and over again. That process might take you 5 to 10 years. You feel what I'm saying? That's why like every few years is a new Tylenol. There's a new Tylenol. I don't know how to even say it. I don't want to say strand. It's not a strand, but anyway, there's a new Tylenol or new ibuprofen, new Advil, whatever the case is, because they're constantly editing upon the previous product. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the thing with the COVID vaccine. Now, they can't force you to take the vaccine. They can't do that by law. Now, what will happen is that things around you might start to become more restricted. You may not be able to fly out of the country. You may not be able to have your kids enroll in public school or even private schools if they don't have the vaccine. So it's going to put you into a space where you almost can't move without getting the vaccine. So my advice to those that are skeptical about the vaccine is wait a little bit. Wait like another 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever the case is, and watch the stories, read high quality publications that talk about the vaccine and the virus or whatever the case is, and then make a choice from there. Just don't go off of Instagram and memes and all the algorithms that you see on social media, because it's just gonna fool you and scare you. And the next thing you know, you're not gonna be able to move. You're not gonna be able to go fly out the country or go so and so place. You can't be able to go to school, because to be honest, the vaccine is not the worst thing. You know what I'm saying? It's really funny. Like we in America, we live such a poor lifestyle in terms of like our nutrition and our diet, etc. Right? That all of a sudden people are now health conscious because of the vaccine. I'm like, all right, y'all, we can't be too skeptical. I understand being skeptical is a good thing, but we can't be too skeptical that now it becomes foolishness. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, just make educated choices for yourself and just understand the consequences that come with not taking the vaccine. That's all. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to touch on that briefly because, it's been on my mind. And, I would love for you guys out there to let us know what you think. I mean, this is a very interactive podcast. We love to get feedback from our viewers. We appreciate you guys so much. We are continuing to really just get this season underway. Episode 5. We started off obviously in the middle of this time last year. You know what I'm saying? Like actually a few months later, I think it was like in May. But yeah, man, we appreciate you guys, and let us know what you think about this episode. For sure, leave comments under our YouTube channel page. Obviously we'll put a clip up and have everything on Instagram as well, and we still on Apple Podcasts and everything. So let us know what you think. We will be doing some IG live soon, having some of our guests come on through there. And we just look forward to continuously bringing you some quality content. And let us know again if there's anything that you guys will want us to discuss, because we do want to make sure that we are engaging with you guys at an appropriate level. So let us know, keep us updated. And you got anything else, Big Dog?
Nah, man, that's it for me. Episode will be coming out real soon, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna try to pump out more episodes for y'all. to keep y'all engaged. Like you said, we're gonna be on live, you're gonna be on Clubhouse, you're gonna find time to really start talking to y'all face to face. And yeah, stay tuned, man. Tap in with us. We going up. Also, put on your mind, the second annual Juneteenth Freedom Walk is on the way. Stay tuned for the details. We're going to do it bigger and better this year. So if any of y'all want to participate, any of y'all want to be vendors, or y'all want to come and just help us out, feel free to email us, DM us, contact us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and we'll be sure to get back to you ASAP. So with that, we say peace.
We say peace.